Coucou guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in Côte d'Azur, even though just from my living room. If you have already watched my last week Cannes Monaco vlog or the vlog from my trip to Saint-Tropez in May, you already know that I'm a big fan of French Riviera. And if you haven't watched it yet, no pressure, but it might be just about time. I've gathered more photos and videos from my past trips to the south of France, and today I can show you 5 more must-see places that definitely deserve a place on your itinerary. I'll briefly walk you through each spot with some history facts and what to look for. Let's dive in. I've been to Antibes 3 times now, each time for a short few hours, but I enjoy it every single time. Antibes is perfectly located just in between Cannes and Nice, so it's a 20-minute train from either side. Makes it super easy to come just for half of a day or just to have dinner and a quick walk. It's really worth it. The town itself is small and cozy and much quieter than many other Riviera hotspots. First of all, you'll find a charming old port, one of the biggest marinas in Europe, filled with the luxury yachts. And then what I love is the long walkway along the sea with beautiful views. You will see different figures and sculptures just scattered around. And by the way, Antibes has a very fascinating art history. Picasso lived and worked here in 1946, and today the Picasso Museum is inside the Chateau Grimaldi in Antibes. I haven't been there, but my parents and family have visited, and they had quite mixed feelings right after. You really need to understand his art to fully appreciate it, so just keep it in mind. What I also love about Antibes is its colorful and cute houses that look almost like something out of a storybook. Overall, Antibes is a place where glamour meets calm. Even a short walk and a dinner in its city center always feel very special. Speaking of glamour, just on the other side of Antibes you will find the legendary Hotel du Cap-Eden-Roc. It's one of the most iconic hotels not only in French Riviera but also in the world. It's famous for hosting Hollywood stars and royals, especially during the Cannes Film Festival. You need a reservation in one of their restaurants, otherwise the access to the grounds is reserved only for hotel guests. The territory of this hotel is absolutely stunning. It's very peaceful, elegant, and with those amazing views over the Mediterranean. I'm quite tempted now to use the old money term for this hotel, but I kind of know that everyone is tired of that. But honestly, if someone asked me, I would say this is a real definition of quite luxury and old money. Of course, the restaurant prices match the hotel's status. I think we paid around 100 euros per person for a lunch with drinks. Honestly, it's totally worth it if you, like me, enjoy elegant places with a great atmosphere and stylish people around. Next one on the list is one of my favorite places, and it's Saint-Paul-de-Vence, one of the most beautiful medieval villages on the Côte d'Azur. It's around a 30-minute ride from Nice and 45-minute ride from Cannes. The village dates back to Middle Ages and was fortified in the 14th century. Even today you can see the old ramparts and stone gates as you walk in. At the very top of the village you will find a cemetery where the famous artist Marc Chagall is buried. He lived in this village for the last decades of his life because he was super inspired of the light and the landscapes of the region. The village itself is full of charm. Its cobblestone streets are lined with tiny boutiques, art galleries, and little stores selling everything from handmade crafts to Provençal products. And here is a fun fact, there is a legendary inn of Saint-Paul-de-Vence that's called La Colombe d'Or. I haven't been there, but it's famous because it was once the favorite hangout spot for Picasso, Matisse, and other artists. Many of them actually paid for their meals with paintings, which today still hang on the wall of the restaurant. Saint-Paul-de-Vence combines history, art, and also that cozy, picturesque vibe that makes you want to wander for hours. Next up is Nice, the biggest city in French Riviera and the capital of the Côte d'Azur. So in most of the cases you will fly here to start exploring the region. Life here feels slower than in such places as Cannes or Monaco, so that's why many French people I know call this place the city of old people or the city of retired people. But Nice is definitely worth visit because it has its own charm and several spots that I really love. You definitely want to start from the famous Promenade des Anglais, which stretches 7 kilometers along the sea. Right on the promenade, you will also find the legendary Hotel Negresco. You will recognize it by the distinctive pink dome. This place opened in 1913 and quickly became the symbol of Riviera glamour. Over the years, it hosted movie stars, royalty, and even the Beatles. Just a few steps away is Villa Massena, a beautiful Belle Epoque palace that was built in the late 19th century. Today it's a museum that tells the story of Nice, and even if you don't get inside, you should definitely check its gardens. They are next to the beach and open to public for free. By the way, Nice actually belonged to the House of Savoy for centuries, from the 14th century and up to 1860, when it was officially ceded to France after a treaty with Sardinia. That's why when you walk around the city, you'll notice so many Italian-inspired touches. And since we were talking about the culture, here in Nice you will find the Chagall Museum. It houses the world's largest public collection of his works, including the famous Biblical Message series, a set of monumental paintings inspired by stories from the Old Testament. And for the best views in Nice, you definitely should climb up to the Castle Hill, Colline du Château. I last did it in 2019, and while there is no actual castle left, the panorama over Nice and the coast is just magical. And now just a little personal note, I'm not a fan of beaches in Nice. Why? Because they are made of big pebbles, so getting into the water is really painful. Many people there use special rubber socks to protect their feet. Overall, I prefer sandy beaches, that's why for my holidays I would choose Cannes or Saint-Tropez instead of Nice. Nice is definitely the place to visit. It has a very beautiful old town, many cute restaurants on the beach and in the city, and a special southern vibe, so don't miss it next time. Another absolute must-see and just a pleasure for your eyes is Villa Ephrussi de Rothschild on the peninsula of Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat. It was built in the early 20th century by the Baroness Beatrice de Rothschild, a woman of incredible taste and eccentricity, and the wealthy heiress of the famous Rothschild banking family. She actually chose the pink color because she felt that soft pink tones would reflect the Mediterranean sun in the most flattering way. What makes it special are 9 themed gardens surrounding the villa. There is a Spanish garden, a Japanese garden, a rose garden, and several more. Each one feels very different and like stepping into a different world, and the whole layout is designed so the villa looks like the deck of an ocean liner. The highlight is also the musical fountain show. The fountains actually dance to classical music every 20 minutes, which makes it feel a little bit like a mini Versailles. Inside, the villa is filled in with her personal art collections, rare furniture, and porcelain she gathered from all over Europe. Besides, on the territory of villa, you will also find a restaurant, which is very cute inside and outside, or you can also enjoy a lunch during the visit. It's one of the most photogenic places you can visit on Côte d'Azur. The last place I wanted to show you today is the Èze Village, one of the most picturesque villages on the Riviera. It's perched high on a cliff between Nice and Monaco, and people often call it an eagle's nest because of its dramatic views over the Mediterranean. The village dates back to the medieval times, with narrow stone streets that twist up the hill, lined with little shops, art galleries and restaurants. At the very top you'll find the Jardin Exotique, built in 1940s by the village's mayor. He actually transformed the ruins of the old fortress into a garden filled with exotic plants from all over the world. From here you get one of the most breathtaking panoramas on the entire Côte d'Azur. Èze is also famous for its perfume tradition. Personally, I haven't done it, but I know there are tours where you can actually learn how fragrances are made. It's a fun stop if you are curious about this part of French culture. And if you want a taste of Riviera luxury, make sure to to pass by the Château de la Chèvre d'Or, a 5-star hotel built right on the cliff. The views from its terrace are simply spectacular. Even if you are not staying there, it's worth stopping for a drink at their bar just to enjoy this incredible beauty from the above. As you can understand, Èze is not a big place, and that's exactly what makes it so special. Even a short visit here feels like stepping back in time, and the views you will see here you will definitely never forget. Okay guys, this was it for 5 more places you definitely should see in French Riviera. I hope that you discovered something interesting and useful for you. Personally, I'm a huge fan of this region. I can talk hours about it, and I think that I have seen only 50% so far of what French Riviera can offer. Thank you again for watching my videos. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe, give it a like and hit a little bell not to miss anything. Until the next one.